Y'all, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope you're doing awesome today. Well, happy Saturday. Time for a relaxing stream of Stardew Valley on our Hacks 2.0 Ghost Farm. As you know, this farm, if you're not new, well, if you are, words. We're already doing words that are hard. Great. Okay. If you are new to this stream, Hacks 2.0 Farm, it is my farm where I have modded in a lot of mods, actually, quite a few. I have gothic buildings and I have ghosts. The villagers are ghosts, the animals are ghosts, and you randomly find dead villager bodies throughout the map. That may be sensitive to some viewers, so I'll just give you a heads up. But yeah, overall, it's still Stardew Valley. But yeah. Hi, Jay. Thank you so much. Says, hi, hun. We love you. Sorry, I was watching Home Alone 2. Lost in New York. No worries. It's good to see you. How come? Welcome back, Rando. Welcome back. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Rando. Thank you for being here. I don't know if you guys have caught one of my Stardew streams yet. Parker, we ran out of biscuits twice before noon. Good day overall, but I about lost brain cells today. It sounds like a lot of hard work. It sounds like a lot. Yeah. Alright, let's do this. Let's switch over to the farm where I'm still being lazy in bed here. Totally lazy. I hope everyone is having a relaxing Saturday though. Hi Dash! Nico. Cosplay stream was fun. Thank you. I like to dress up every now and then. Cosplays are usually pretty rare, but I do have little crazy onesie outfits of Pikachu and just being a cat and different things like that I do here and there randomly. Oh, and then of course, being that my stream name is KimonoKat, I dress up in a kimono sometimes and show up on stream, so you never know what to expect with me. But yeah, I do have a couple kimonos that I will randomly wear on stream. Oh yeah, don't quit before you get another job. That's like the rule. Make sure you get another job in place before you quit the one you don't like, you know? Especially if it's paying, you know, bills and things like that. Have you ever thought about cosplay as the witch from Wizard of Oz? No, I haven't. Like the good witch? I mean, I guess I kind of like with all the blonde hair and stuff. That would work, right? I love it, but it's 10 an hour. The wicked one? Okay. Feel dark. I do dark and goth too. Oh, the green skin. Oh my god. Paint all my skin green. That would be nuts. That would be nuts. I wonder how easy it is to get skin paint off once you've painted yourself. Of course, you want to make sure you use the right stuff and make sure you're not allergic or anything. But that would be interesting. Hi, Snappy! Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Happy Saturday. I love you, Kev. I don't need Kermit. Oh, dang. I want to be Kermit. Kermit's awesome. I'm going to dress up like Kermit now. I'm sure there's a onesie for that. I can paint my face green and put on a Kermit onesie. I'm going to troll poor Parker here. As you can see, I'm still in bed and I have frozen time. One of my mods allows me to freeze time if you're curious. I highly recommend CJB Cheats menu and CJB Cheats Item Spawner if you're new to mods. They make your possibilities almost limitless. If you're curious about the mods in the game, here is what the mods are. Oh, thank you so much, Snappy. Thank you for the 8 months. Holy cow, thank you so much for the sub, man. You're awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. There is one where they wear something like a shirt, stockings instead. Oh, so it's like a simple version of the outfit. Ooh. It kind of makes me think of like a Christmas elf costume with like a big shirt and a belt and stockings and stuff. But yeah, I could totally see an adapted version of the witch's outfit like that, and then like a hat. Oh, and the reason my starting mod list says it's a work in progress is because it's always a work in progress. Thank you for the drink water. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Legs. Appreciate it. Drinking water is good for you. Legendary. Legs, you know you want to farm. Do you want to join my farm and be a Stardew Valley player? I don't know if it's quite your speed, but I'm sure you'd have a good time. Ghost kitty. Meow. Oh, I just tried to use my sword. Oh, that's right. I got this void salmon because I was going to put it in our fish tank. The fish tanks are so cool that you could just, like, put things in them. I wonder which tanky fits best. Maybe the one with the blobfish, but that one's already got 4 things. Maybe you can only have 4? I don't know what the limit is. Let me find out. No, I want to put it in the tank. There it went. Oh, I went in there. Haha. And then I can take him back out, I think. See, those are the ones that are in there. Pufferfish, octopus, super cucumber, midnight carp, void salmon. So I'm gonna take him back out. I want to put him in there with the other guys, the weird looking fish. It says, I'm okay. What did you ask? Well, Six Flags and Cedar Fair is merging. Oh, interesting. I've never been to a Cedar Fair, but I've been to Six Flags. Oh, I was seeing if you wanted to play Stardew, modded Stardew Legs. I said it's probably not your cup of tea, but I don't know. You never know. Stardew's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting to everyone. Or it can be, you know. I think I've had so many different people play with me and try it out. Like it, you know. It's just such a relaxing game if you're into relaxing, chill games. So we have a squid, a midnight squid, a spookfish, and a blobfish. And a void, stuff with the void salmon in there. He just looked like he would be happier there. I don't know. And then where did my child run off to? This is my child. Then I think I can look up information on them. Is it F1? Yeah. Fall 8 in year 1, toddler. Friends. Talked today, yes. I don't have the game. Oh no! So speaking of green skin characters, would you cosplay as She-Hulk? Oh, if I had some arm muscles? Or I guess one of those shirts that looked like you had an arm muscles? That would be crazy. I think you like green characters. Is green your favorite color? Ay. Legs doesn't have the game. All the years that I've played and I've gifted away Stardew. I'm surprised. Because you've always been here. I'm surprised you do not have it. Maybe one day you'll get it. Maybe one day you'll get it gifted. You never know. You never know. I feel like the leaks were reserved for something. And there's nothing in here I can really drop off. There's stuff or stuff I can drop off. Excuse me. You could cosplay as me, but you need a... No, don't say that. Your favorite color is actually blue. Sweet. Nothing wrong with it. Oh, there's a blobfish in there too. And just a regular fish. I didn't realize that. Alright, we're gonna throw away some stuff that I just don't feel like dealing with right now. I could cash it out for money, but I don't feel like dealing with it. And that was one of those, how did that get in there thing? Alright, I'll save the other stuff. That stuff. Oh, what did I get us? That slammer. An extremely heavy gravel that'll send foes flying. Gavel, not gravel. Gravel. Right. So your favorite color is blue. My favorite color is, it's a toss-up between green and purple. I love purple, but I also love green. Oh, some of the things I threw away are in here too. Okay, well we're gonna put that in there. Take that out, take that out. We're gonna that out. Now I'm going to take and throw that away. And that, and that. We're just doing a little house cleaning. What's in this trunk right here? Oh, there we go. There's some things. But I don't know where this thing is. Let me go find where these actually belong. We have a place that processes those materials. And I just have to figure out where it is. I don't remember where we put that building. Are the Junimos busy today? I wonder. Yep, the Junimos are working. They're doing Junimo things. Okay. Because this was food, I believe. Yes, this is food. Oh, we put it in the mine. That's right. Duh, that makes so much sense. Oh, also with this mod, I can warp to the mines. So if you ever see me do stuff like this, that's what's happening. Or I could ride my horse over here, like a sensible person. But yes, we will load some coal in here, some materials, and then they'll automatically start making things and stuff. You know what, let's put that fiber and that wood and seeds out of here and junk out of here that I don't really want in here. A dwarf gadget? Huh. Bone fragments. Looks like stuff we could sell to a star shard. So just because my star shard just lists unnatural irregularities. Okay, we'll leave the star shard in there. Leave the cherry bombs. I'll take that. Get rid of that. Okay, we'll leave those things in there. But see, I put that stuff in there and it's automatically making things. Now let's open this. And that's gemstones. So it makes more sense for these. Is that topaz? Yeah. It makes more sense for these to be over here. To me. Even though they're not really as pretty. Was there actually regular stone in here? Yeah, there's a mine thing. We could put the regular stone in there. Jill, good luck on Sunday. I know traffic will be awful now that the dragons are good. Yeah. See, I can only imagine. A wild drift bloom appeared. Okay. I gotta catch this one. I don't even know what balls I have. I'm just gonna do a basic poke catch like you and hope for the best and hope I actually catch this thing. So, like my lights are like glaring and killing me here. There we go. I think they were still on full brightness. And I'm like, no, I can't.
Okay, now we're gonna sell some stuff. Oh, I could have kept that. I'm gonna put that over here. And then this I'm gonna put in there. And I'm gonna put that, since this is the mine, I'm going to store this hammer in there. This looks like I have one notification. I think it's myself. It's myself. Oh, jeez. I will fly. I caught the drift blimp. Sorry, Parker. You didn't catch it. Alright, we're going to organize this just a little bit because these are items as part of my quest that I'm working on. And this is... Oh, I could have put the tools in this one. I think this one has tools. No, this one has fishing stuff. And some seeds, apparently. Skeletal hand. Some mask and some... Well, that's a lot of crab cakes. Oh, that's for the miners, I guess, to have food. But it's kind of in the wrong place, I think. Oh, maybe it's for the fishing stamina as well. I don't know. We'll leave the crab cakes in here and put the pancakes in the other one. Usually Rain does all this organizing for me. She is at D&D tonight, so if she makes it, it will be late. Let's see. Yeah, but oh, wait a second. I got an extra gold side still. I'll put that in there. One of the miners might find it. Oh, hey. I don't have that. Slut. Not a yet. Go to the quarry and blow things up. Oh, they haven't grown back very much yet. So we'll wait on that. Alright. Instead of riding my horse or teleporting, we'll go to the bus stop and get a minecart. That's one of the things you unlock with the community center eventually, is the minecart. Which is awesome if you're not playing modded and you need to get around. Alright, let's go check out the farm and see what we need to do today. More little animals. We have all the truffles here from the pigs. Looks like they've about eaten all their grass, so technically we probably need to plant some more grass at some point. I don't want to go out exploring. I feel like I haven't discovered all the bodies to be found on this farm yet, which is hence part of my title today. We're gonna make some truffle oil. Got our automated processes. The dig spot, what that is. Oh, rice shoots. So what animal poops and causes rice shoots? That's what I'm wondering. Oh, there's nobody hatching. We could hatch, I don't know, what do we want to hatch over here? Not dinos. I feel like there should be a chest in here to put stuff in that we don't want to get rid of right away, but there's not. Maybe the stuff just needs to go in the fridge. The animal products in my fridge. Which is what any sensible person would really do with their eggs and such. Would be like, oh, these need to go in the fridge. And the rice shoots would not go in there. We would actually go plant rice and grow rice at some point. And if you guys have any questions about Stardew, feel free to ask. Any questions about mods, anything like that. If you're lurking and listening. Is this a seed thing? Huh. I need to plant some stuff. But I guess, oh, it's almost winter, that's why. Or almost the next season, that's why we didn't plant anything. I'm supposed to go do this festival thing, too. Good thing I paused time so that I could get some stuff done. My wife's not here to dance with me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Who am I gonna pick? If I do get this game of mod right away, yeah. I wouldn't. I spent like 400 hours on it before I started modding. Okay, we need to go to the Flower Festival. Yeah. Oh, how did we get here? We have no tools, and I didn't dress up properly because I have a feeling they all look exactly the same in white outfits, and then I just got multicolor changing pants here. So, yeah. Seasonal decor. Rare wallflower, ceiling leaves. I haven't seen those before. I didn't even know those were a theme. We're gonna check this out, because I don't remember those. The red jelly yet? No. Let's see your hair. Who do we want to dance with? We were kind of romancing Emily, but not really. Our dance moves need to be perfect. Just enjoying the scenery. I can hardly see them. Flowers, aw, you can hardly see them. Aw, she did all the flower arrangements. I hate dancing in front of everyone. It's so embarrassing. There's Sebastian. That's Rain's first dog. Oh, he doesn't like me right now. You know what? I admit it. I really like flowers. Rock season is really starting to pick up. What? What, dude? What? I should brought my fishing pole, right? Excellent sauce. Slurp. Ancient fertility rituals. Interesting. Here, spend time with family. Sweet flowers. Makes you nervous. I wonder if I talked to everybody before. I wonder if Emily would dance with me. I'm sure she would dance with me if I asked her, so... Spring is almost over, what a shame. I was in there. See, I don't know why he's not a ghost. He is in this picture, but his character isn't. He should be a ghost too. Okay, and then the kids. Alright, who are we gonna dance with? I have no idea. Let's see. So I'm gonna ask somebody. See what the mayor says. Well, should we start the dance now? Not yet. Can I dance with somebody, or am I not allowed? Maybe I'm not high enough friends for it to, like, say that. Oh, Leia would be. Oh, wonder who else would be. Oh, it's because I talked to him, now they're all available. Well, I'm pretty sure I romanced Shane the heck out of him to get the blue chickens. We'll make him dance. There we go. Can you ask more than one to be your partner and see what happens? Nope. You're stuck at that point. I wanted to start some trouble. Start your trouble. Dang. Don't tell Rain. Don't tell my wife. My starting wife. See, I'm the only one not wearing the appropriate clothes for this event. I'm sure they're available if I really looked. Let's see, who's Emily dancing with? I don't even know who that is. Time to go home. Yeah, so the game course is 10 p.m. Big Al. Collect some mushrooms. I think there's a mod that you can like expand this area and like grow all kinds of stuff in here. Alright, we'll go to sleep and then I'll plant some stuff in the morning. Wrong house. Well, actually, no, I can't plant yet. 4 days, the season changes. Unless I plant stuff that grows in spring and summer. Some crops grow in both seasons and you can plant them. I could do that. Then they don't die. I could also invest my time in another blue chicken. I feel like we need another blue chicken. Alright, which horse is mine? Thank you. Also, I want to see what these green plant things do. These leaves I got, are you supposed to place them like along the edge of the ceiling? I think you are. This room's got enough greenery, but we're gonna make it more green. You are, this is so crazy. Can I put it above the... No, I can't put it above the pictures. Oh, jeez. I don't know. That room is super green. Here, we'll put one in here too. We'll just see. There you go. I bought them, I might as well place them. Is that truffle oils too? Oh, I didn't know we had truffle oil making in the kitchen. I mean, it kind of makes sense, considering the fridge is right there. Oh, so Rain moved the truffle oil production to here versus the bar. Oh, okay. Is there more truffle oil in here? Whoa, there's a lot of truffle oil in here. Alright, endless amounts. Welcome, Shane! Welcome to the stream! Welcome. I eventually want to cook everything. I still got so many recipes to unlock, though. I'm not even sure how to unlock all these. Cave, carrot, and winter roots. I feel like maybe the more of them you make, the more you get. Oh, that's right. We were gonna, a wild, unidentified ghost Pokemon appeared, guys. Don't know what you get. Oh, did I hit the thing? I meant to copy paste. There. Okay, we're gonna go down to the docks today and go get all the shellfish that we tried to catch for our refrigerator. any other goods we find along the way, we'll collect and put in the fridge too. If it's food, of course. And I probably need to adjust the time. Let's see. Time, unfreeze. That way the day will proceed as normal. Oh yeah, we got shells. All the shells. And we got tons of little things out of the crab pots. I believe we have a recycle machine over here for all these, come on, newspapers and such. Oh, I have to get them from on the dock. I'm just gonna keep swinging my sword. There. And then, once I pick up all these items, oh, I must have not put food in those? Interesting. That. And hey, I caught it. I wonder which Pokemon it is. Should go look. Hey, stop swinging your sword and just grab the items. Let's see. Okay, did I have any crab pots over here? No, I have a bait machine. Nice. That's probably enough. Probably not enough bait. Okay, now we have bait. Now refill these things. It's so much easier to fill them back up than it is to collect the stuff out of them. It's probably me, but you know, it's just what it seems like. There. I'm gonna run out of bait. There's so many crab pots. Alright, I think there's some bait in here. There is. There's tons of bait in here. We'll make sure all the crab pots get properly filled up with bait this time. And if I stand in the middle, can I reach all three? No. There we go. And I will put that back in there. And then there's just some odd things in here that I don't really want in here anymore. So I'm going to remove the odd and in things that I feel don't really belong in here. Pork bobber, lead bobber, glow ring. Yeah, none of that stuff belongs in there. I feel like the oysters and the mussels and all those are cooking ingredients, I think. So we can put the full-on cooked food in there. That stuff can go to the mine or the house. Trash. Oh, we want to keep the trash because this goes in the recycle machine. Imagine a tentacruel coming out of water. That would be cool. There is a jellyfish season thing. I don't know if you've seen that in this game. That's pretty cool. Oh, it only holds one thing. Oh, we should have a chest next to that and make it automate. And then you just put all the recyclables in the chest and then just automate the recycling. Why have we not done that yet? What the heck? Why are these so many of these things? We don't need these many bins. They drive me nuts too. Every time you walk by them, they go. Okay, so it looks like there's room here for two. Well, no, because the rope counts as a space. I could put the automator right here. Let's do that. The recycler. Thoughts on dark chocolate candy? Oh, I love dark chocolate. Absolutely love dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate, milk chocolate, and I'm not really a fan of white chocolate. I will eat a little bit of it, like if it's drizzled on top of the dark chocolate, or if it's like flavored, you know, like on Kit Kats or something, like it's the mint, like those mint duo Kit Kats that have the dark chocolate and the white chocolate with the mint flavor. I'll eat those, but I'm not like a huge fan of mint ones. There's the recycle machine. And where's the automator? Automate, auto grabber. No. Does it have to have the auto grabber? No, I think it's the mod that automates that. Okay. I can't remember. We'll put it here and find out. Let's find out. If it starts jumping up and down when I load these things in there, then we'll know. Because I'm putting all the recyclable goods in there. I don't remember if driftwood is recyclable, but I'm putting it in there. Yep, it's jumping up and down. We just automated the recycling process. So if you throw your recycles into the purple bin, it automatically goes into the automating machine. Speaking of chocolate, have you ever tried chocolate or yogurt covered pretzels? Oh my god, I love those. Love chocolate covered pretzels. Oh, we get a whole rock from that one. Why did I do that? Love chocolate covered pretzels. What about you? What do you like? Do you like white chocolate? Do you like dark chocolate? Milk chocolate? Are you particular? What about the yogurt covered ones? They're good too. I haven't really seen those too much though. Usually it's white chocolate or dark chocolate and not so much the yogurt ones. You like both? Yeah. The white chocolate is so sweet. I tend to stay away from like super, super, super sweet stuff. Like I can have a little bit of it in moderation, but I think that's why I'm just like not super big on white chocolate. The rock thing in the water is actually, that little floating thing is actually somebody's hat. Yeah, they died. It's Willie's hat from his real body. I'm not sure where his real body is, but that's his hat. So, yeah, it's creepy. Just a little. Say hi, Willie. Ghost Willie. What could I give him? I could give him a clam or something. I wonder if he likes that. Thank you. He does like that. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that extra machine because I don't feel like trying to organize it. And the copper pans need to go near. I haven't done the gold digging thing or gold panning thing. I sure hope the body isn't underwater. Some of them are in this game. Some of them are, because he's a ghost, so, I mean... I thought I saw it somewhere. His body. I don't remember where. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't his hair. And but now that's Elliot's body. Elliot's body. He's dead. You can see like his rib cage and his shirt's like tore off, and there's like some green stuff. I don't know if it's like growing on his body or what. I don't know. It's pretty gross. That there we go. Some coral. Is our body out here? No, no body is out here at the end of the dock. Let the body take the floor. Let the okay. I'm gonna start singing now. Oh no. Wow, hopefully they're not murder victims. I feel like they are all tragic murder victims or something. Well, sensitive subjects here, you know, close your ears. Some of them are actually suicides, so. What happens when you find all the bodies? Nothing. It's just a skin replacement mod. So nothing really truly happens when you find all the bodies. It's just like a personal goal to locate them all. I should map it all out and make like a chart and get all weird about it, but I haven't. There we go. Oh, sorry about that alarm thing. That was loud. But yeah, if you look right here, there's a body of somebody. It looks kind of like the mayor's body right there. It's like, you know, they made it kind of look like they jumped off the bridge or something. I'm not really sure what happened. Are there graveyard cemeteries? Yes, the one we just went by just a second ago. There's a little cemetery. This one. And you can read the markers on it and such. Our beloved Mona. Stand between the pillars, 3 with gift of precious as the sky, a rainbow forged from land not seen, then galaxies will heed your cry. This is actually a secret riddle to how to get the galaxy sword. I won't tell you exactly how, but this sword right here that I have is how to get this one. Old and it's faded. And this one says, I can't read it, I guess. That one I can't read. And then, of course, you can even go in the sewer. I mean, this game, it's not just a farming sim. There's, like, stuff everywhere. All kinds of surprises. Go into the sewer and explore. Oh, yeah, and there's a... Poor Linus, the homeless man, is dead in here. And he doesn't look too happy about it. Like, something happened. Like, maybe Krobus did it. Please don't tell anyone about me. Maybe for good reason. I might not be safe here. Please don't tell anyone. Yeah, did you do that to Linus? Just saying. Oh yeah, I forgot this takes you out here. And then like this beach is so full of trash. Like, ugh. Oh, I gotta use the scythe. I don't see any more veggies. I got those. I think my goal is to fill up the fridge with all kinds of random stuff though, so hopefully I can make things. A wild deerling appeared. Here we go. I wanna go catch that. Oh. Need to edit my commands since I don't have like many regular balls. I think did I buy some last time? I might have bought some last night. Oak shop. Oak balls. 10. Oh, because I added an S. There. Now I can hit my hotkey for it. it's getting late. We should probably head home soon. I don't know where my horse is, though. You know, I feel like there's probably a body at the lake over in the hidden woods. Not here. I know there's a body in the wizard's house, but I feel like there's probably a body in the hidden woods. That's like Shane's favorite hiding spot. If I remember right. Or it was a different lake. I don't remember. One of the lakes. Nope, there's no body in there. I'm surprised. I did find one in the sewer. I found Linus. Poor Linus. The homeless man was in the sewer. Ah, in the hidden woods. I went to the hidden woods for a minute. Okay, I think I'm gonna teleport home and put all my goods I've collected in the kitchen. Okay, we've got lots of shellfish already in here. I'm gonna add to that collection. And what else? I don't think you can eat coral. It's not food. But I can put it in the fish tanks. Oh, I can do that. Oh, that's food, but this is all seafood. We're not mixing fridges apparently, so that's completed dishes. And that looks like mostly fruits and veggies, so yeah, we can add to that. And then apparently I can use that. I don't know. Does that work in the kitchen being on that side of the fridge? Does it even read that I have it? Oh yeah, it does. It does work. It says I have. Wait a minute. It says a crayfish, and I do have a crayfish. Why isn't it reading the crayfish? Or is that a lobster? Oh, it's a lobster, not a crayfish. I don't have any crayfish yet. See, like this coral I got? You can just drop it in the fish tank. Can I have more of the same type? Oh, interesting. Can I put that one in there? Why does it look different in there? It changes what the coral looks like. Is this like ghost version of the coral? I don't know. Oh, so weird. The coral looks different. Aw, the kiddo's in the bed. Hi, kiddo. And then I have stuff for the mines, for the chest. Okay, I think I'm just gonna put that on that row. And next time we're over that way, we'll do that. Oh, and I have some kind of jewelry thing. Glow rings and such. A little hair clip. I don't use the hair clips and stuff because I like my cat ears, but pretty sure there's stuff in the dresser. There, we added to it. This is all the stuff in my dresser. All the clothes in the house. I could put on different outfits. Change my clothes. Apparently I have 2 wedding rings somehow. I don't know. Oh, we can put the ring in there. Let's do that. We'll put the ring in there. Glow ring. Speaking of crayfish, are they and crawfish the same? Yes. I think it's just 2 ways of saying it, like tomato, tomato. I think. I could be wrong, but I feel like they're the same thing. Lots of goodies. Oh, we can gift people some wine instead of beer. I haven't gifted people like beers and wine in a while. I was doing that when I was trying to get Shane up to the level to have baby chickens. There's a kitty in my bed. A ghost kitty. Yeah, they're the same thing. I thought so. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Checking notifications real quick. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, who of you in the chat eat crawfish then? That's the question now. Since we've been talking about chocolate and dark chocolate and white chocolate, who eat crawfish? Hmm. Let's see. An egg is about to hatch. Oh, Pokemon Go. Now is not the time. I'm not even walking around. I've tried some once before. It was okay. Yeah. I've had it. I eat it. I think I definitely prefer some of the other forms of seafood. I love seafood though, but I prefer some of the other forms more. But now I would say I'm not the one that like some people like, break them and suck the heads. Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can eat them and I like them. They're like little mini lobster-ish things. But there's no way I can suck the heads or whatever. It's no, I can't do that. I can't go that far. There. Okay. Back to day 25 of spring, year 2. Alright, turn my notifications off. Okay, me next. Alright, good morning. Good morning, fam. There we go. I'd redecorate while Irene isn't here. She'd be like, no, not the spoopy house. She would freak out. Oh, are you doing well? I'm saying a little something from my kitchen. I hope I didn't crumble on the man. Chocolate cake. I like chocolate cake. I'm gonna put the chocolate cake in here. So we're gonna gift away things today, and we're still collecting all the possible food items we can to make food. I feel like nothing's unlocking, no matter what we're collecting. Tomatoes and wheat flour, salmon, periwinkles, cheese, so much stuff. Cauliflower cheese. Oh, we can go get the stuff out of the barn. Let's go get all the animal proteins out. I need to plant some more grass too. No, we're not eating the truffle. Dun, dun, dun. Cheese. Cheese. Truffle oil. Okay. And then I think one of these is free to hatch eggs. That one's not. That one they get collected. What? I feel like I just went to the same one. There we go. This one we ended up making like the dinosaur place, except for one blue chicken, which I'm not getting rid of. What's going on in here? Oh, gems and stuff. Which could go into the mine place. Fried calamari. I wonder how that got in there. So what's an unusual rare food that you eat, chat? What's a really unusual rare food that you would eat? Talking about foods. Okay, let's see if there's a slot in this one first for the cheese that it already fills in. No, not really. Is there anything in here not food? Oh, there's cooked pizza. Oh, there's wheat flour in here. Why isn't that reading? I swear it said it didn't have any wheat flour. Rice. There's rice and wheat flour in here. Alright, we'll put the dairy in here. Oh, and the eggs could have went in this one, I think. Oh, and we have another meal. And we could put some wine and beer in here too. Well, not in this one. I wonder if you could cook with that, so let's add that in there. Trying to get recipes to unlock. Okay, so we unlocked cheese cauliflower because we added the cheese. And I don't know if I've ever made cheese cauliflower, so we're gonna make one. Just to make one. But then I swear I saw like crayfish, periwinkle tomatoes, okay. A snail we don't have yet. Cave root, I can go over to the mine and get those. Or no, I keep selling those. Dang it. Squid, some oil. Can I buy fish? Milk, any? We can't get milk because we keep turning it into cheese. Vinegar. And that's like regular oil. How do we get regular oil? Versus truffle oil. I think I'm gonna go buy some ingredients. Probably barbecue eel. I've had it a couple of times and it was pretty good. Oh, I like eel sushi. And they usually do put like a little bit of the barbecue like glaze on the eel. It's on top of the sushi. Or they put some kind of sauce, you know? Maybe it's an eel sauce, I don't know. But I like eel on sushi. I like it really good. I like it really good. I like it a lot. Oh, here's another place. I forgot about this. Oh, that's the house. Why does it not look like a house to me? And why is that barn like so far back compared to the others? That bothers me. I feel like we should move that barn like up. I'm sure there was a reason I didn't before, but I don't remember. And I'm determined to try again because I feel like it should be lined up with the house, just like all the other things. Okay, those could have stayed. That row. So we only gotta move it up one block. by looking at it down here. Alright, any food anywhere that I can take and I can put in the fridge. We're just gonna start gathering food. There's like gems in every chest. I don't know what's going on with that. Is there items I can take to the mine? Not going there. Yeah. Because I'm gonna put all these over there, I think. I just feel like they're in the wrong place. There's a thingamajig. Oh, there's some more of those. Okay, while I'm at it, we're just gonna take those out. Sell some of this stuff. I'm gonna sell the bat wings. Sell those, because I don't think you make food out of bat wings. Go to the warp. Never mind. You just got home. Welcome, welcome. Hope you have a wonderful stream. Thank you, Hollow. Good luck with work. Sorry, guys, I'm not paying attention. Just got home. Water, thank you. Boy. Here you go. You can always use sound commands if you don't think I'm like noticing you fast enough. That's what I think. I was like, you can do sound commands. If you have I just get so into this game. Yeah, I'm playing alone right now. Rose wasn't feeling good and Rain's at D&D. Let's see. You're special? No! But yeah, also, there's like free commands too. You can do the run thing. Stretch break? I do need a stretch break, probably. It is about time for a stretch break. Alright, we're gonna put all these things that can be processed in here along with the already processed ones. And I don't know. Enough about that. So that's an earth crystal. Crystals can go in the other one. Geodes are really a thing all together. That's something different. Oh, there's the cave roots that I needed. I don't know what you do with the star shards yet, though. I'm not sure what you do with those yet. And I forget you can organize boxes. Refined quartz. Fire quartz. Does fire quartz refine too? I don't think so. Welcome, 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 welcome. And then... Okay, I dropped off all the gemstones. And I still got cauliflower in my inventory for some reason. Welcome, Sixer. We need a whisper one. KimonoKat. Yes. Whisper. Look. Oh, I thought I did that. It should be triggering. Honestly, I did that. I loaded that. I don't know why it doesn't trigger when you join chat. It should actually trigger when Momo joins chat. Let me check on that. It says events. Momo enabled. Edit. I was like, maybe I have your name wrong or something, but no. And then
in commands. You should do that when you join. Did it the first time? Didn't work for me the first time either. Oh yeah, I should automate for you. Just like that. It should sound like that. You're special. Yeah. Let's see. Enabled. Speak. Set to speak. Every time you speak, it should go off. And commands. Let me look. Yeah, the first time you're in chat. Okay, so now it should be a command too. No, every line doesn't trigger. The only options is the first time you speak or when you join chat. You're special. Well, now you can do it yourself if you wish. Whether it's going to work when you join or not the first time, it should, but it didn't. But Sixer, what are you doing? And yes, I still need to take that stretch break. Ah! Legs, you gonna watch chat for me while I take stretch break? Uh-huh. See, time, freeze. I'm not done. I'm not done with things. Carpenter. My trees growing a little bit. Some of them. Trees grow so slow. Make house renovation, construct farm buildings. I want to move a farm building. It's gonna look like the tractor thing, but it's really the horse stable. To move one of these guys. I want to move this one down a little bit. There we go. Now it lines up with the house evenly, and that makes me happy. Now I just have to go fill in all those tiles. All the mods. I'm intimidated. I'm here. Okay, Sheen. Alright. Make sure Momo doesn't cause trouble. I'm just gonna like stretch real quick and run around the kitchen like a crazy person. Probably go get some chocolate. You guys have been talking about chocolate. It's gonna drive me crazy. So, don't forget your stretches. Yes, we need to do them. Okay, what else can I buy? Is there actually food in here I can buy? Sugar. I'm putting some stuff in my fridge. I have all kinds of money. I'm just gonna mad click on the sugar here. The wheat and the rice. Oh, there's regular oil and vinegar here. I don't remember how you make it, but we're buying a bunch of it. And vinegar. So this can help me with my recipes. Auto loaded. Yes. I don't buy anything normally, so
Fertilizer, wallpapers, tree saplings, bouquets. I just want the food items and I don't want any seeds. Okay, so there we go. So now we got some stuff to take home to our fridge. And you see nothing. I didn't like totally teleport home here. Okay, so that fridge is getting kind of full. We'll just go back to putting stuff in this one. I can't believe I've filled up all these fridges already. I wonder what recipes we just unlocked. I'm so excited. Oh, we didn't put the cave roots in there. Cave roots are now in there. Oh, we unlocked the salad. Ooh, fried mushrooms. And roots platter. So let's make the roots one. Let's make the fried mushrooms. And the salad. That way I know I've made everything that is active right now that I can make. There. Maybe tomorrow, like, new recipes will unlock since we, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping as I cook things, recipes will unlock. And let's go need to go to that one place. And there's tools in the first one, I think. Yeah, tools are in the first one. Crab pots. I'm just gonna make it tools in here. That's it. Nothing else. Tools in that one. Fibers and plants and things. Oh, there's wood in the other one. Put the wood together. This one can be random stuff. There we go. Random stuff. Oh, I gotta put that back in the ground. Okay, now we're gonna put the tiles back down behind the... No, move, horsey. The horse was still stuck there. When I moved the barn, the horse was still behind the barn. Oh, there's bunches of tiles missing back here. You can't see it because it's behind the building, but when you walk close to the buildings, they become, like, transparent, so then you can see. Okay, it won't let me add them there. It'll let me add them there. Okay, all the tiles have been replaced until lightning strikes. And we have this flower thing to put back down somewhere. Here, right. Will let me put it there? No. Will let me put it there? Yeah. We'll put the horse back in his stable. It's raining. Feel bad for the poor dead horse. Alright, these we're gonna dispose of. Oh my gosh! Stop stalling, Misty! Timer stretches. See, it works! Oh. It worked. Okay, switch back. I will be ready. Let's see. I think I have a screen for that. Don't I have one for be right back? Yeah, there it is. see you, Missy, causing trouble, running around.
Oh, my phone, stop sabotaging me. Oh, there's Shane. With his sword. But yeah, I brought back some apple cider and some dark chocolate. So, since we were talking about chocolate, I kind of wanted some chocolate. Can't catch me. Let's go. Enjoy the cider and chocolates. Yes. I blame chat. I'm talking about food tonight. I really want some seafood now. Oh. I just did my grocery shopping though. Some shrimp would be good. Ooh, make some homemade shrimp gumbo. Oh my god. I just made homemade like beef and veggie soup today. So me now wanting to make more gumbo too on top of that. That's like 2 soups in one weekend. I don't know if I want to make another soup. You had some good shrimp yesterday? Never had gumbo. It's so good. Love gumbo. But I like shrimp too. I could just do a shrimp dish. Frozen fish and chips I can fix for us, Mono. Oh, yes, please. I'm coming over. It's only like, what, 12 hours away? Fish and chips sounds awesome. And then, but yo, how did you fix your shrimp, Momo? Mmm. Garlic butter and oil? Mmm. Sounds so good. So you made like a shrimp scampi. Mmm. Sounds so good. That sounds like what we call shrimp scampi. And when it's done, they'll like sprinkle a little bit of parsley on top or something. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mmm. Chocolate. Mmm. Mm-hmm. It is Lent. And they do sometimes add cherry tomatoes and veggies, but usually it's just straight up shrimp and seasonings and butter. But yeah, it's Lent. 70% cocoa. So it's a little sweet. It's not totally tart. Sometimes I'll get like the 80% or the 90% just because it's better for you, but sometimes I like that little bit of sugar in there. The stronger you get the cocoa, the less sweet it is. What? It's just something that I recognize. So the print on the chocolate. Yeah, you saw the print on the chocolate piece I held up. And this is just regular apple cider. It's not alcoholic. Your limit for dark chocolate is 70. It's hard to eat above 70. You have to really be on a diet and really craving dark chocolate. I've done 85 and I've done 92. Depending on how strict of a sugar-free diet I'm on, I've done both. But there's just something about when you want chocolate, you want chocolate. You don't care. If you like dark chocolate, you won't care how dark it is if you're trying to avoid sugar and still get that chocolate. It's good for you. Right, Shane? You're going to post health articles in Discord about how good chocolate is for you? I did watch that one on the brain that you posted. That was really interesting. The meditation one. I meditate as well, so I found it very interesting. We should put these in the fridge, not in the bin.
These need to go in the fridge, not in the bin. Do we have any in this fridge? Yeah, we do. See, I don't know if it uses the common mushrooms. Oh, there's a cooked cake in there. Take that out. I feel like we need 10 more refrigerators. But I don't think you can line up any more fridges in this area. And there was an egg in here. There's some eggs in here. I'm gonna take those out, see if they'll combine in the other fridge. Oh, and there's some seeds in here, so those will combine in the other fridge. Seeing what'll combine. The beans aren't gonna do anything, because you have to turn them into coffee. Oh, I accidentally picked up strawberries. I didn't mean to do that. Strawberries can stay in there. Oh, those are beans. There's garlic and kale. Wild bait. Ew, no. Take the wild bait out. That gives us some more room to put, like, real food in there. Where's our coffee happening? I don't think coffee's happening in here. It might be. There's beans in here, though. Oh, I need that back. And I was going to take some more wine out. Organize. I wonder why there's different ones. Oh, because they're all different kinds. There's blueberry, ancient fruit, cranberry, grape. I was like, why are there so many different stacks? Rhubarb? Strawberry? Didn't even realize there were so many different kinds of wine in here. Oh, there's cheese in here? What the heck? Now that I think about it, shouldn't these items be in the fridge? I mean, ancient fruit turns into wine, but... maybe I can make something with some of this. There's garlics, kales, cauliflowers, parsnips. Okay. There. Oh, I want my wine back. Oh, put the pale ale in there too. Let's see if we unlocked any more recipes real quick. Nope. Same recipes. Yeah, with dark chocolate, you don't need much to cover the craving, too. Yeah, exactly. Just like one little piece. Oh, you can't even see my screen right now. Dark chocolate craving means magnesium deficiency or something? Oh, interesting. Chocolate and red wine are good in moderation. Don't go crazy with them, Mona. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do try to stick to drinking wine, like, on Fridays, but I do have a habit of drinking wine on Tuesdays, too, and I know it really should be, like, red wine. That's okay, because you guys are talking to me. You're not paying attention to me making recipes. I wasn't doing anything crazy. Let's see. Rhubarb pie is something I'd like to taste once, and pumpkin pie, never had it. Oh! Chocolate craving, not dark chocolate. I had strawberry rhubarb pie last time I visited family in New Jersey. It was very tart, but very good. I don't think I've ever had rhubarb pie. I've had a strawberry pie. I love strawberry pie. Pumpkin pie is good. Especially, I will tell you, pumpkin pie can vary so much by who makes it or the place you get it from. So if you've had pumpkin pie once and you don't like it, always try it again. Because if it's homemade from scratch pumpkin pie, it tastes totally different than like a store-bought pie or a pie made from canned pumpkin mix. They all taste different. York and New Jersey? I did, didn't I? Oh, words are hard. You're gonna have to punish me now. Now I want pie and chocolate. But yeah, I'm trying to get my fridges in order and get ingredients in here to make things, but it seems like no matter how much stuff I add, I still need something else. Like, I don't know, like something else is missing. And I think I'm gonna sell some of these things because there's like duplicates of everything in here. Like, I don't know. You're supposed to sell like the more expensive ones unless you want to process them into something else and make them something else. I just don't want 3 stacks of every type of vegetable or produce in here. 2 of each kind is enough. And then I'm thinking, can you directly process them into, oh yeah, both machines are in here. I should be able to put the fruit back in there and let it process. Vegetables would have to go in the cannery though. They're not going to process here. Oh, maybe I should go check the cannery and like move some of those things over to the fridge. Like these eggs. And like all these pickled items, and like there's ginger in here. Oh, there's cave roots, yams, tomatoes. Oh my gosh, there's so many veggies in here. Well, we know we don't need those. Eggs, corn, bananas, peppers. I feel like we're missing out in the kitchen and everything's in here. Pumpkins, pickled items. I don't even know what pickled items count. There's like a bunch of different kinds there. Green beans, hot peppers. Okay, corn. We want 7 or 4. Bananas we don't have. Ginger. Take those over there. There's so many of them. So there's different kinds. I don't know if the pickled things actually help you make recipes or not. Oh, there's apples. And more salmon berries. Okay. We're gonna steal all this stuff and put it in the fridge. Sleepy Brain. Stardew Gaga. Oh, mono head pats. Yeah. Wild Mischievous. Don't catch. Mischievous escaped. Me Stardew. Sleepy Brain. Yeah, I have Sleepy Brain too. Sleepy Brain is standard. Oh, there's grapes and cherries and blueberries and plums and peaches. Ah, there's so many things that I can add to the kitchen. I think we've just been processing everything. Probably because we didn't have enough fridge space before. But now I want to go put stuff in the fridge just to see what I can make. Like tomatoes, salmon berries, grapes, cherries, apples. We already had ancient fruit in there. We didn't have any pumpkins and peppers. There's 11 of those, or 3 of those. We'll go with 11. 1 of those. Do we have that in there? We do. We don't have it in Alright, I'm just gonna drop some stuff in here until I can... I don't even know how to organize this mess right now. I'm gonna take out extras of some of these. I need a bigger fridge. Somebody help. Is there a way to expand your fridge? Add to existing stacks. Yeah. Oh, that's a button? It just automatically does that and I'm just now seeing that? Oh my god. I can't believe I never saw that button. It takes stuff out of my thing and adds to the existing stacks. Wow. Just wow. Okay, and... okay, we're full. We're gonna go over to this one. Nope. I can go to this one and go to existing stacks. Do the same thing. And then there's seafood in here, but I'm gonna put the pickled jarred items in here because I don't know if those will work or not yet, but we'll find out. We'll put this fish roe in there too because that makes sense. So didn't one of these other ones have fish stuff in it that I can take out too? Yeah, fish stuff. Bananas. Okay, and fish stuff. And did we put wine in here? You found that pretty fast, luckily? Oh, you're lucky. I don't know why I've never noticed it before. I just have it. Okay, we're gonna put the wine in. Oh, we already got wine. There's salmonberry wine. More salmonberry wine! Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna use that button a heck of a lot now. I'm just like... I don't know if you use resin to make food. I feel like you don't. But I could be wrong. And I feel like I think we've added all those into the other one. Okay, let's see what recipes we got. We got new recipes. We've got pepper poppers. Ooh, a bean hot pot. Let's do the bean hot pot. The pepper poppers. And spaghetti, which I know I've made spaghetti before, but I'm making it anyway. Cranberry sauce. Yay! So we made some more dishes. That's cool. And then I'm just gonna keep putting the dishes I make over here. Because I don't know how I'm supposed to keep track of when I've made everything. There we go. And then... I feel like we had one of those catch-all bins here, but we don't. Oh, that's pretty. It's handy. Let's see. Okay, now we're gonna get rid of some of this just because I don't know what to do with it. Sorry, ancient fruit. Wild bug bait. All out of my inventory. Okay. What other food items can we seek to make the recipes that we have? We need milk. We need a periwinkle, which could be down at the thing. We need a salmon. Cabbages and radishes. Hopefully we can grow those soon. Eels. So any kind of fish. Any kind of fishing product would help us out. And some milk. So we need to stop animal production and keep doing the crab pot thing. You're special. Well, you're lucky I saw it. If you want to dye your hair any color, what would it be? Lately, let's see. What color have I thought about? I have, in the past, done the ends of my hair pink. Most recently, that was the most recent thing I've done because I did the Marin cosplay. And I actually just used my own hair because she has blonde hair with pink tips, so I dyed my hair pink. In the past, I have dyed my hair like almost every color.
dyed my hair. I had like a mermaid hair color. I went from like aqua to blue to purple. And then I had red hair, and I've had blue hair, and I've had purple hair. I haven't had green hair. I don't know. I feel like I would like to try to attempt again the hair color that's really hard, and it's like the Final Fantasy like frosted light pink hair. I think that's the next color I want to try, and I might try it over the holidays. I might try to do that. It's been a while. Yes, I have eaten them IRL. I like crawfish. I don't. I'm not one to like suck on the heads though. That's gross. I will eat the tails all day long and peel them and everything, or have it in like a gumbo type situation or with rice or whatever. But I'll eat them. I like them. It's not necessarily my favorite seafood. Like if you're like get like a seafood buffet, I'll get like a couple of them. But I don't like get a bunch of them. Shrimp are definitely my favorite. You know, like scallops and lobsters and all that stuff. So, do you eat them? Have you thought about a dark navy blue? I did a really dark blue once, but it was pretty cool looking. It was pretty dark. And then I did like a red with purple tips. And I've done blonde with purple tips. But yeah, navy blue is pretty too. The only color I haven't really, I feel like, dyed my hair is the green and black. I haven't done either one of those. The red purple was cool. It was one of my faves because I love the red hair. You're more a fan of tuna and salmon and various fish. See, I'm less of a fan of fish than I am general seafood. I will eat fish. I probably eat tuna the most, and then salmon some, and I love mahi. So I love mahi. Mahi is so good, but it's not one that you get as often. You haven't had crawfish IRL? I feel like people are more open to eating what they grew up eating as a kid. Like I saw like my grandparents and stuff eat all kinds of stuff like this. And I think maybe I would never have ate it if I didn't watch other people eat it when I was young. But like I like oysters too. I like raw oysters, which is like a rare thing. Most people like them steamed or fried or not at all. My favorite is actually raw. And I don't like fried ones. Mm-mm, not at all. You don't like squishy white fish meat? It can be. The only way I really eat squishy white fish meat is broiled. Broil it and put lots of like Cajun seasonings on it, so blackened. I like it blackened, as they call it. I like it spicy. If it's gonna be squishy white fish, it better be spicy, broiled, tons of flavor coating on top, and then it's pretty good. Fried boneless fish is the best, especially cod, catfish, or tilapia. See, I don't like catfish. It's too oily for me. But cod and tilapia, I'll definitely eat those all day long fried. Sea devil? I don't think I've ever had sea devil. I don't know what that is. The mahi is my favorite, and they call it dolphin fish. It's not really a dolphin, but they call it dolphin fish. It's kind of like a rainbow colored ocean fish that I love. No, I was having another piece of chocolate. It's your fault. I've been eating dark chocolate. It's your fault. Angler's the other name? Yeah, I've never had that. Oh, catch, guys. If you catch a Pokemon. I was trying to think, what was the other kind of thing I was going to say? Oh, Shane, do you eat raw tuna like on sushi? Because I know you said you like tuna and salmon. Do you eat tuna and salmon on sushi? Because those are like two of the most common things you find on sushi. Oh, because we were talking all about chocolate earlier. You're like, what kind of chocolate do you like? Brando, you were like, what kind of chocolate do you like? And I was like, do you like dark chocolate? And I was like, yeah, I like dark chocolate. And I was like, okay, I gotta go get some chocolate a little bit. So I ran into the kitchen on my stretch break and got some chocolate. You do, yes. I like tuna better than salmon on sushi. And yeah, all the tuna. Yellowtail, regular. Some reason the raw salmon has like a texture that I'm not as big of a fan on. I will eat it on the sushi, especially if there's like the avocado and like if it's a rainbow roll or something and it's mixed in. But it's not my favorite on sushi. Yeah, I don't definitely don't like it. And most people just use the standard fish herbs and just ugh. Yeah. Give it give you us freshly raw? What? What are you talking about? When I said I eat oysters raw? Mama? I was making fun of me drinking. Oh, your favorite chocolates are milk and white, by the way, not a fan of dark chocolate. Oh, I thought you said you liked them all. The tuna and salmon. Oh, yeah. You want them raw? Yeah, if they're fresh. And this was apple cider. There's just like a sip left yet. It's real apple cider. Yeah, no, yeah. Has to be like a trusted place to eat sushi from. I don't want anything freaky and weird. I don't want to be sick. Let's see. I'm a sweet person. Need bitter chocolate to even it out. You are very sweet. Oh, no, too. Oh, thank you. I tried octopus once. Couldn't get past the texture. Oh, I love octopus. I had a sashimi octopus where they slice it and they put it between lemon. So you have like a lemon slice of lemon and then the octopus sliced because they slice it real thin so it's more tender. Yeah, if it's not tender enough, if they didn't like prepare it right, like it isn't completely raw. They won't do it completely raw, but they like I guess blanch it and then they put it between like lemon slices or something. What was that? Black cat ears. Oh my gosh.
Me casually joining in.
You scared me. I didn't know if it was you or Momo or who it was. Black cat ears, it is.
You know I gotta live for the chaos and scaring you.
Uh-huh, you did.
Hi, Momo.
Yeah, they're like, hi, Reed. The place I had it was like a whole baby octopus leg. It was rubbery. Ew, yeah, no. And I love fried calamari. And I love the little crispy leg pieces and the circles. I love calamari fried. and then.
Shane, I know you didn't just call me Ryan.
He did. He totally called you Ryan. Yeah, Rubbery is not prepared right, so yeah. I would be
You
willing
need
to
to
try it
change
again
that
and know that it
autocorrect,
was
Shane.
wrong.
You need to make sure it's Rain and not Ryan.
He must. Maybe he knows a Ryan that he texts about all the time too, because that would be a pain.
No, unfortunately, the spelling of my name just always autocorrects to Ryan.
Thanks for the retweet, Sixer. If you're listening, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, Genshin's like, don't forget to do your daily check-in. Thanks, Genshin.
Yeah, you wanna invite me
Nope.
to the game?
Nope. Not allowed. Just
Rude.
kidding.
Oh, rude.
Oh, let's see. I'll invite you to the game, especially since I have it up right now. And I just grab
Yeah,
the
Rain is
code.
definitely not a common name.
Alrighty, let's go to the. Oh, there you are. Let's go to the chat. Paste. There we go. I didn't even see where you said be there shortly because
Yeah, I didn't think
'cause it's
so, but I
muted.
still did it.
Yeah. It's
I still did it anyway.
Thank you. There we go. Rain and chat with me, and Momo's a slacker because she's muted Betsy's, but she's been talking the whole time. She's been awesome.
Yeah.
She's keeping me entertained. Her, Rando, and Shane. Going to bed to sleep. Have a good night. Aw, have a good night. You too, Tank.
Where the fuck is my shit?
Alright, Genshin. To be honest, would you eat a fish taco? Oh, I love fish tacos. That's the one I
Never had
like
fish
with
tacos.
mahi. A lot of times it's made with mahi, and mahi makes the best fish tacos, especially if they've blackened the mahi and then put it in the fish tacos. Oh my god,
Oh
they're so
fuck
good.
yeah! I got my deferral thing again.
Oh, also, I got my haircut
sure.
today with the shampoo head massage. Oh, that sounds so relaxing. Still preparing for Betsy's. You got this, Momo. One with guacamole? Yeah, I love guacamole. I love tacos. I love Mexican food. I am such a foodie. I will eat a lot of foods. There are not many foods I don't eat. And if I don't eat them, it's because they don't like my stomach. It's not because I don't like the taste usually, because I usually do. Like, I don't eat a lot of, like, ground sausage because it's so greasy and peppery. Like, the pepper and the grease combination disagrees with me. I like it. And then I can't eat a lot of cinnamon. It actually burns my stomach. It irritates my stomach. So it's weird. But I like cinnamon. I just can't eat it. I would say things that I'm, like, most finicky about is, like, I don't do, like...
The chests are finally full.
I don't really do, like, deer meat and stuff. So, you know, I'm the odd one that eats raw oysters but doesn't really do, like, deer meat and stuff.
The tree chests are finally full.
Oh. Oh! I forgot I can go get those and put those fruits in the fridge, too. I'm trying to put every kind of food item in the fridge as possible. I'm trying to make all the recipes.
Well, they're real fucking full. Like,
so I need to go look at that.
Full
Check out that. Turkey burgers? Yeah, I like turkey burgers, especially if I make, like, turkey myself. Like, oh, great. I just showed my code. Don't look! But anyway, but yeah, I make a turkey and spinach meatballs that are really good from scratch. I love that. And if I make turkey burgers, I put like, they're better if you do like put a little bit of spinach and onions and stuff in them and don't just do straight up turkey because it's so dry, it needs moisture. Oh, the greenhouse is down here. Grew up on deer meat. Yeah, and then again, I don't know if I just haven't had it prepared the best either.
So I would be willing to give it a try again. Just not.
I hear venison jerky is actually pretty fucking good. Like those chomps,
Uh,
sticks or whatever. I hear those are pretty good. They're venison. Some of them are anyway.
Scared me, crisis. You're eating pizza with mushrooms on it? Oh yeah, I love mushroom pizza.
Mushroom's good.
I love mushrooms. So are you a picky eater, Rando? Would you consider yourself a picky eater? I mean, it's okay if you are. I feel like picky eaters have one advantage. I feel like they don't gain weight as easy because they're not going to just eat everything like I do. I eat everything.
No, I'm a picky eater and I keep gaining weight.
Uh,
I don't think it applies.
You don't think it applies? Yeah, maybe
No,
I'm wrong.
I'm very much a picky eater.
So are you gonna like work on the items in the garden here, like the center part of the garden, the greenhouse that doesn't have anything?
Yeah, it's a slow going process.
Okay.
Ooh, black olives are good.
Love y'all. Love you too,
I
Crisis.
just
Just came to say I'm lurking. Thank you for the lurk. Much appreciated, man. Black olives? Yes, please. Black olives, pickled olives. I don't care for like sweet relish too much. I like dill relish.
Hate relish.
Yeah. And so there's all the cherries and the fruits. And okay, so we're gonna add mangoes, oranges, these guys, and peaches and apricots are gonna have to go on the other side. I just don't have room. Nope, don't have room here either. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put the mushrooms in with the fish. And all the jarred items. Because they're in a jar, they're safe.
Yeah. I can move the oil and the vinegar in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Beer is finished.
Jarred items are going in with the seafood. And the mushrooms.
What? Oh, I was about to say, why the hell is there fucking fertilizer in here and it's wheat flour?
Yeah, I thought it was fertilizer too. Don't feel bad. I was like, what?
I'm gonna put the cheese in this one.
And I'm keeping all like the completed food items in the one place, so I kind of have an idea of what I've completed.
Yeah, I'm not considering cheese a completed thing because we can use that.
Mm-hmm.
These are completed.
Oh yeah, no. I'm talking about the one fridge is all the recipes I've finished.
Oh
basically.
yeah. I threw in the beer and ale and wine and a field snack in there.
And then
Where's our child? Found our child.
okay. Let's see if I can make anything else do.
She's still alive.
No, not yet. We're trying. It's depends. My uncle used to make deer jerky. It was tasty. I would try deer jerky. I love beef jerky. I've had buffalo jerky, and I liked it. Depends. Some picky eaters just eat junk food. That makes sense. I like pizza with mushrooms and black olives on it too. Just no pineapple allowed on my pizza. Would you be able to sell any food items in the game? Yes, you can sell any food items. You make it for profit. That's part of your gardening is you grow stuff and then you make the dishes and you can sell them. Yep, you can sell your completed dishes and then you can also eat them to restore your health. Right now I have my health set to infinite health. But like when you're playing the game in vanilla mode, you need to eat those dishes you make in order to farm and mine and have enough energy to make it. through the. I mean, you can make it through the day without doing that, but you can't do as much work if that makes
It's a
sense.
little
You need
harder.
food to do more work. I prefer green olives on pizza. Ooh, I've never had green olives on pizza. They don't offer that here.
Time is paused, right?
Supreme pizza is my favorite pizza, by the way. Yeah, I avoid that one because of the sausage, but I mean, it doesn't mean I couldn't order it and say no sausage, use hamburger meat instead, please. I do like supreme pizza though. If I get it with hamburger meat, no sausage. Pizza, ironically, is the way I found out I was sensitive to sausage. Alright, what was I doing? Crab traps. That's what I was doing. Oh dang. Yeah, it was not a good time. That's okay though. So these crab pots need to like give me the items I want, but I'm guessing some items even in the crab pots might be seasonal. Is that what the deal is? Are some items in the crab pots? Oh, new achievement. What did I get? Mother catch? Interesting.
Oh, damn. Okay, so those don't regrow. That's good to know. But if I keep a small supply in here...
Yeah. Yeah, I like to put stuff that regrows in greenhouse. I have been trying to clean up and organize all the bins throughout the farm today, by the way, too. Like putting certain stuff, like all the mine stuff I've been taking over to the mine.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
I've been trying.
I was testing a thing to see if the rare seeds were like a regrowable, but they're not.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
And then I also set up a trash recycler next to the dock, so when I pull up all this trash, I can just throw it in the recycle. I got shrimpers. But yeah, I'm thinking some of these shellfish stuff must be seasonal in the crab pots. That or you have to have the really good bait.
Yeah.
You can teleport? Yes. What's the countdown? What do you mean, countdown?
Oh, it's for the Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. For the Pokemon spawn. Every 15 minutes, another Pokemon spawns, and the question mark turns to which Pokemon is available to catch at that time. What was I looking up? Oh, special bait. Because I want to see if I get stuff with like, oh, wild bait and, okay, we're gonna try the wild bait and the other bait and see if I get like different like creatures. Did I get both pots? There we go. We'll do the wild bait up here. Come on. Okay, I don't think I got that one, did I? I did, okay.
And I already got the ancient seeds.
If you could have any superpower you wanted, which one would it be? Good question. I can have anything. Sometimes I wish I could fly. Thank you for the 67 months. Holy cow. Welcome, Kraken. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Teleport? Yeah. Teleport would be good. Teleport would honestly, to me, be better than flying. Because flying, you'd have to deal with weather. and junk. But teleporting, you could like instantly get where you want to go. Cause yeah, that would be better than flying. I don't know. And then sometimes part of me wants to pick like ability for like the greater good, but then you're just gonna be like a slave to a system of people and abused. Like if you had the power to like heal anybody or something, that would be really cool. But then you're just gonna be taken advantage of. But if you could teleport, you know, and heal, then you could get the hell out of Dodge. But I don't know, I feel like you'd live your life on the run. I just like so many people suffer all the time and I feel really bad, you know, for them. Oh, I picked up your crab pot somewhere. Or maybe I gained a no, I picked up one. Picked it up from here.
Good job.
There we go. Alright, we're gonna put the bait, infinite bait stuff in here. And the recyclables are in there. We're gonna organize it again. See, these need to go in the mine. These don't need to be in here. Oh, that's because they're never mind, they can stay in there. They're coming from the recyclables, that's why they're in here. Recyclables are creating them. They can stay in there for now until I'm ready to gather them.
Okay. So
Did I accidentally put my shrimp or something in there? Where did my food? Oh, there it is in the first row.
I'm gonna come in and destroy all these.
And then
Go figure.
there was already wild bait in there. Oops. What's good, Kimono? Oh, we're just talking about foods and things people like and superpowers and all kinds of stuff. What about you, man? Do you like sushi? Do you eat sushi? There we go. Teleportation, kinesis, or time travel? Yeah, time travel would probably mess everything up and everybody else. I'd be scared of that one. I wouldn't want to mess things up in my own life or anybody else's life. Telekinesis would be great. But yeah, teleportation. Travel is like one of my dreams. I loved the idea of traveling.
If I had voluntary telepathy, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, not voluntary. You'd probably lose your mind. I would. So, craving some sushi? Poop in Japan. Yes, I love the idea of traveling. And oh, such a foodie. I'm such a foodie that traveling would be like the best thing. Teleportation. What's your thought on mind control? Not cool. I wouldn't ever want to control somebody else's mind. Definitely think that would be more of an evil talent. Kraken, what games you played and what you up to? Here, I know you don't stream, but this is a hack, and I'm gonna do it because you're Kraken and I can. It's like I know you don't stream, but I can find out what you. Doesn't it still tell me what he's played? Nope, it doesn't. Dang it. I was thinking it would tell me when he
Kraken
played.
should be doing? Playing
What?
with us.
Playing Stardew, yes. I like my teleportation with a side of levitation to avoid severe injury from falls. That'd be good. Starfield right now, slacker. Slacker, slacker, slacker. Yeah, Brain's right. Could be playing Stardew. Could be playing Stardew. And let me move that a minute. Pretty good game, just like Fallout, if you ever played it. I haven't played it. I've watched people play it though. Huh?
I think we all know you haven't played it.
No, I have it. I have one of them. Or whatever free ones that have come out, because I collect all the free stuff.
Then you probably have Fallout 1 and 2. Because I got those for free. I have played Fallout.
Yeah.
mean, it's 5
I did not think so,
Bethesda.
but I was not sure. Yeah, you never know. You never know. I mean, I played Phasmo 2 times now, a game I never thought I would play. So, you never know. Phasmo was fun. I played it last night. Digging in the trash. Oh, I wonder if there was different foods.
Who
Is
do
there
you think,
different foods
Kraken?
for... Oh, it's Lady Rain.
What? I was like, what mod is the only one that's consistently here?
Well, I mean, Shane's usually
I mean, there's
consistently here, but he's
Shane's here
lurking.
too, and Shane also works longer days
Yeah.
than I do, so
But you're talking about in voice chat, yeah.
yeah, I'm almost always
Voice
here.
chat. I know. Oh, by the way, the 18th I'll be at Comic-Con, so I can't do Pasha. It's okay. It's all good. I think I have it scheduled for... Do I have it scheduled for the 11th, too? I don't even know. I don't even know what my schedule is right now. Let me look real quick. We will pull up my schedule. My schedule is Pacho on the 11th and the 18th. And I know it's going to be hit and miss, like whether you, like Rose can play, Lady Rain can play. It depends on what you guys got going on. Like the 11th, Rose can't play. If she does it, it might be late. And then, so we'll have people hit and miss it, you know?
Like I
And
go
that's
on
all good.
vacation during one of those weeks.
Mm-hmm. Kraken says hi. 11th should be good.
We're talking shit, Shane. No, we're not.
Her name Shane. Yeah, we were talking about how you're always here lurking and listening. But Shane did. Then we were talking about how Lady Rain's always here in voice chat playing games with me. We were talking about mods, talking smack. They were talking smack about mods. I was taking up for you. It's like Shane's here too. He's just always lurking. It's all good.
Yeah.
What does this bin do right here? Is that where you can like sell stuff during the day when?
No. It's
So it's
there for show.
useless. It's useless.
Yeah, I want to say it's kind of like a donations box almost. Like, you know that how some places have like a little donation box or whatever.
Oh, today's Pierre's
That's how
birthday.
I imagine it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that sucks.
Interesting. Let's see.
Sucks
Maybe
being
he
here.
wants a mussel or a clam. I hate all this stuff. I hate seafood. Let's find out. Yeah. Ew. Oh, it's for my birthday. Thanks. Yeah, he hates it.
No one likes seafood but Willie.
I like seafood. Come on.
I know, but you know, none of the townies like seafood. Oh, hi, Linus.
Oh, we found Emily. She's dead on the altar in their secret ritual room here. We found Emily's body. Yeah, they sacrificed Emily. My other wife. They are ghosts. They all died. I murdered them with a mod. The mod murdered them all.
Nice.
Yeah, the mod turns the whole town into ghost, and then you randomly find bodies in different places in different scenarios. So all the farm animals are ghosts as well. Everybody's dead, except for like 1 or 2 skins that didn't get reskinned in the mod. There's only a couple. I'm ready for the season to change so I can get new produce and stuff. So I can make more recipes. I should probably unfreeze time in order for that to happen. But yeah, I'll show you the farm animals real quick. Hold on, let me drop off some shellfish here. I did not know the add to existing stacks button was a thing until today.
I tell you, as many hours as I have in Stardew, I still discover things. That's pretty cool. If you do mods, can you still get achievements? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, as long as you have Steam open.
Yeah, as long as you have Steam open, it will continue to count your hours in Stardew. And because there was many hours modded that I didn't have Steam open, and it wasn't counting my hours, and I didn't realize it. So from now on, when I do modded Stardew, I always have Steam open so I can count my hours. Okay, ghost animals. Here you go. There's my ghost sheeps and cows and pigs. They're all ghosty ghosts. They're dead. And all my automated thingamajigs making, Oh, that's right, I need milk, so I get to turn off the automator in here for a little bit. Oh. I need milk. So I'm gonna turn off the automator for the night. And put it in the chest beside it. Just so I can get some milk in the morning. Chickies! Yes, yeah, all the chickens are over here. There's ducks, rabbits, blue chickens that I unlocked. Void chickens, brown chickens, white chickens. They're all ghosty ghosts. Popular achievement, network achievement, beloved farmer achievement. Whoa, what did you do?
I might have cheated relationships and now I'm gonna date everyone.
Oh, I'm already doing that. I've been doing that. That's why every time I played for the longest, I got like nothing but tons of scenes.
Yeah.
Let's see, Dino Ghost, another blue chicken. All my little ghost dinosaurs. Dating Haley. Yeah, you weren't here, so I had to dance with Shane at the flower festival. So
Oh,
my wife doesn't know I went to the flower festival and I danced with
That's okay.
Shane. I mean, she would have danced with Sebastian, so let's
I would have.
be fair.
You're right.
You dating Sam? She keeps popping up all the people you're dating.
Yeah.
Let's see. If I go to, what is my romance
really
level?
wanna know what
See,
happened.
mine is set not to lose hearts. So as I earn hearts with them, they start unlocking scenes, but they won't lose hearts, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
don't necessarily have it auto on. Unless I go through and click things, like I can, like Pam likes beer and Crowless likes that. It tells me what everybody likes.
Am I dating everyone yet? Okay, hold on.
And then that's the same thing. Then I can manually select all the hearts all the way up if I wanted to. They're gonna yell at you, you know that, right?
Oh, I know. That's the point.
You're gonna get busted.
I'm alright with it.
You get busted for dating everyone at the same time.
I'm alright.
So Sandy isn't a ghost in this game.
No, she's not part of the regular
The
shit.
skin. Yeah, a couple people aren't ghosts. The dwarf isn't a ghost. Crowus isn't a ghost. A lot of them have died though. So I need to go back to the house and get wine bottles and continuing my romance or beer and continue my quest because almost everybody likes beer was my thing. So I just give them beer. Or pale ale. Well, I don't know if they all like pale ale. They like beer though. And we're out of that.
everyone
We
likes
need to
beer.
grow more hops. I think in summertime is when you grow hops.
Yeah.
See nothing. Alright. And no, I haven't bothered to plant anything because of summer coming up. I was like, if I plant anything, it's gonna be something that
Yeah.
is good for summer too.
Alright, so I just need Alex, Penny, and Maru.
Didn't I have a chest somewhere with grass in it for the animals? Yes, grass plugs. Because they need more grass. Time to go play more grass. The bats leave me alone. Plenty of grass for the farm animals to munch on. Keep them all happy. Get away from me, bats. Get away, get away!
Even though they don't actually hurt you.
I know. They're just annoying. Oh, they gave me a secret note though. See? See?
Okay.
Parts still needed for my greatest invention yet. Maru. Gold bar, radium bar, battery pack, diamond, and strawberry. Maru needs parts for an invention?
Yep.
I'm gonna give those to her. I'm curious what happens. Let's do that. Because we have all these items. I just gotta go grab them. Screenshot that real quick so I can find out where they're all at. Alright, so first I need to go over to
The bed.
or bed. I need a gold bar and a radium bar. Over here I need a diamond. Okay. Back to the farm. I need a battery, which seems like we should have a few of those in the morning.
Somewhere. Yeah.
In the morning because it's raining.
It's not storming though.
Oh, you have a bouquet? Who are you giving the bouquet to?
I got 3 more people.
You're giving them all bouquets?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So I can date them all.
That's like the step before marriage, right?
Uh-huh.
Or the...
There's everyone though.
My wife is evil.
Hi, Sam.
My wife is evil, but I love her. And then, alright, so we didn't get any... Why did the lightning fail me and not give me any battery things?
We didn't get any lightning.
I was lightning!
I didn't see it.
Battery.
And they weren't like pulsating like they're supposed to.
I don't feel like going to the fridge.
Oh my god.
A strawberry decal can be placed inside your house?
Oh god.
Okay. Well, we're doing that. There's been a strawberry on the wall somewhere. I don't know where. We ain't got no space. Dang, that's a giant strawberry. There. And there's a giant strawberry on the wall next to the wizard. Just because I can.
Yeah.
Oh, Maru. Where is Maru?
In our home.
Which one's her home? Is she the one that lives with Dimitri? No, that's Robin.
Yup.
Oh, she is?
She's Demetrius and Robin's kid. Sebastian's
Okay.
half-sister.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Maru, you better be home.
Should
got 30 more seconds.
See who gets to her first.
Hey! Wait, isn't Shane the guy in the game? That's yes. But he's oh, gun show. Dang it. Okay. We'll do the gun show thingy. Hold on. We'll do Big Me. Okay.
Oh my god, so many cutscenes.
Oh, you guys are nuts. Where's Mario?
You're gonna get to her before I am. Well, I'm stuck in a cutscene.
Hi, Mario. What? Is she not gonna let me go? Thanks, cat. And then use a strawberry and a battery and a diamond. No, not the rain, tomorrow. And an iridium bar. Yay, so I guess I just wait till tomorrow to find out. This is some kind of device Mario's working on. It looks pretty scrappy. So we'll find out tomorrow what she makes of it. And then Reina's now dating Mario. Oh, feels good to still have enough points to mess with you. Yeah, yep. If you lurk, you get to torture me. So.
Alright,
So
I
can...
am dating everyone.
Oh, dang. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I gave them beer. Because I forgot to give everybody. I want to work on getting everybody gifts, and they all pretty much like beer. It's the trick in this town. They almost all like beer. Not good enough friends with Sebastian yet. This is a big house with a lot of people.
It's a 4-person family.
I know. Have 40k channel points. I didn't even know that was possible. I have like 229,000 on the stream. The 400k, that's a lot. Okay, we're gonna go back to town. There's a leak up here. You got the leak. Leak. And okay. And I'm carrying around a whole bunch of extra grass that I don't need. No, but I'm not drinking the beer. Well, yeah, I'll drink the beer for you guys so you can see me turn all different colors. You turn all different colors when you drink beer. And then I think if you do it too much, can't you get sick? Can't you turn green or something?
Probably.
I don't remember. Maybe not. Maybe because my health's all the way up. I don't know. Ooh! I need the pale thingy. Is it? Oh, the pale thingy's not in here. Maybe it's over here. There it is, the milky pill. I need to go milk some sheeps and goats. Cookies! Num 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 num. Infinite power. But yeah, you guys, if you're subs, you have sound commands too that you control me with. Subs. I think it's 2 there. And cookies, you have these commands as a reminder. I just tried to milk a duck or something. Hi. There. Large milk, yay! Large milk. We can't milk the sheeps. It's hard to tell which animals are ghosts and which ones are like actual cows and stuff right now. Steak has no milk right now. Oh. And yeah. Zed, oh, there's a goat. They're all so close together. Get off of each other. Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay. And it's funny how they all give milk, but yet if you have 2 cows, you can still get a baby. Forky, help me out here. Okay, so they're just gonna like, no, I'm not gonna deal with that right now.
You can get a baby even with just 1 cow.
Can you?
Yeah, it's just because it's a
The
fairy
heart
that
level
comes in.
event?
I don't know. It's like a fairy that comes and basically says, hey, it's pregnant and giving birth.
Alright, let's see what new things we unlocked. We unlocked parsnip soup. Yay. We unlocked miner's tree. Oh no! What did I... No, I lost 2. Because I need more milk. Okay, then I can make lobster bisque and chowder, which I think I may have one of those already.
Let me...
Let's see.
Alright, you got milk.
Okay. Doing this the hard way. I know. Okay, now we can make chowder and lobster bisque. Check. Because I feel like you make the recipes to unlock the ability to make more recipes or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's friendship levels. I don't know. I just keep doing stuff.
Definitely give you some, and then watching the TV does too.
Oh, I gotta watch the TV then. I gotta go watch the cooking shows or something.
Yeah, Wednesday and Sunday.
Okay. Wednesday and Sunday is cooking shows?
I think Wednesday is the actual day, but Sunday's
Ooh, kimono on the nose? You booped me?
Oh no, we missed the ghosty.
What ghosty?
The unidentified ghost.
Yeah. Boop Shane on the nose. Hugs myself. Hugs Shane. Shane gets more cookies. Just what he needs. 1,000 more cookies to add to your stack. Yeah. Okay, so... Oh no, I picked it up. Put it down.
I know. Got a good amount. I forgot I hadn't chatted in stream yet.
Oh, you hadn't, have you? Oh, I took the rug out of the house with me. Dang it. Or did I? Modern rug. What? Where did this rug come from? Did I duplicate the rug somehow?
No, I'll move it.
Oh, this one was in the bedroom. That's why. Somehow I picked up the one that was in the bedroom. We just switched them. It's over 9,000! And... Splashed chain. Let's see. Oh, I forgot I added one that's not on my deck. My Steam deck. There. White. I bet Lady Rain. There we go. She doesn't mind. I mean, she's my wife after all. Oh, you shipped with Shane. What's gonna be your name? Clumsy, Hurrico, or Clumsy, or Stummy. I like it. It's Stumsy. I like it. There you go. Stumsy. I like it, like it, like it. Oh, what was it doing now? Oh, finding people in town. I'm a horse. Let's go. You're not really my horse. I don't know how you're not my horse. You're right next to my house. But you're not my horse. But I'm using you today. Let's see. Oh, no. I don't want to drink it. Work on these friendship levels so we can unlock some more scenes. No. And Emily. Now we're gonna go. Meow. I'm just kidding.
I just
How
realized I'm a little
stuff?
bit of an idiot.
There.
I
You're
was
trapped.
throwing all the pickled food into the fridge like it was gonna be able to be used in a recipe.
I was thinking it might be. That's why I put the pickles in there.
Oh, okay. I'll put them back.
I wasn't like sure if it's in any of the recipes or not because I haven't got that far yet. So I was like, it might be.
Let's see.
Yeah, I put it in there because I was thinking it might be. Ruining his business. I mean, maybe I bought the beers from him first and then gave them away. This is true though. I went in there in his own bar and gave away beer. Locked. They all went to bed. Oh. Oh.
It doesn't look like
Cookies.
it can be.
Okay.
So we can just sell them.
Okay. I'd just save some of each or something. I don't care. Either way, sell them or keep them.
Oh, we're selling them. You know, just to add to our millions of dollars.
Rain is hitting the sack. Alright, then I can restore this automator back to working service now that I don't need cow's milk anymore. There we go. The automator has been restored. But yeah, before you sell any produce or anything that's food, check and see if we have it in the fridge.
Yep.
No, want to go in here. There we go. And time to go to sleep. Oh wait, is that stuck open? That's not good. Gate was stuck open. The animals would have got out. Running the let's see, sleepy time. Yes. And then stretch my legs. I want some more apple cider. That's a lot of money for pickles.
Yeah, it is.
$56,000 worth of pickles.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pickles. And then what is this? Oh, you sold a lot of gems. Oh, you sold straight up ore that hadn't processed yet?
Yeah, why not?
Because I had been taking it all to the mine to get it to process.
Yeah.
Dang.
I didn't want to go all the way over there.
I just teleported. Terrible.
Yeah, that's too many buttons. I didn't want to do that.
No, I'm not gonna be. Get back here! There, good morning.
Oh, hi.
I have to kiss my child. Too. There we go. Alright. So, today's quest. Okay, I'm going to the beach to see what I caught. My special bait. That's what I'm doing.
I love how I haven't left the farm yet. Since I have decided to date everyone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
As
lick
soon
it,
as you leave, you're gonna get stuck with all the scenes.
I've already gotten a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of recyclables. Yes, the seasons need to change because the expensive bait did no good in the crab pots. Nothing has changed. I think I keep picking up crab pots. Aye. There's gotta be an easier way to do these crab pots. Oh, can we train them to auto harvest?
Oh.
Maybe I can train a crab pot to auto harvest.
I'm
gonna
machine
see.
processing.
No, I meant like pick up and put into a chest and all that mess. And rebait and refuel and like.
I don't think they could be automated, no.
I don't know. I'm curious though. Fingers are wrong spots. Yeah. Is the automator thingy is just the regular auto grabber. Yeah, so we can try. Let's try it down here where we have this one.
Alright, well, I'm in town.
And then we're gonna try the doohickey. Oh my gosh. It's working. Oh, I don't even have to have the theme. I don't even have to have the auto grabber because I got a thing on, but anyway, it worked. It worked, by the way. So, that's a good note to know. Anywhere I have crab pots, just throw a random chest and it'll grab them for me and I just have to go pick them up. So everybody's gonna be like, why is there a random chest floating around here? It's because,
Hell yeah.
Oh, that one I didn't have to have because that one I picked it up anyway, so. Okay. And then I look in the chest and I pull out the items. Thanks for lurking! And then we'll come over here to the recycler. All the recyclables that I don't want. Note to self, I can now automate crab pots. Yes! So that means the bait needs to come out of here. Actually, let's just use regular bait in there. Just do that. Come down here. Because can I refill it? Oh. Yep, I can refill the bait with a chest too. Oh, this is gonna be great. Yep. Okay, I'm loving this. This is awesome. This is so cool. Oh my god, I can fill all the crab pots at one time, and I can,
Oh, yeah.
And they'll auto go into the chest, and I just check the chest. Oh my gosh, this is so nice. Why haven't I done this a long time ago? Go backs. Has the automators here, so if I put bait in here, and it's right next to this row, anything in this row, and also this row, auto fills up. And actually, I don't even need this device. This device is bogus for me because of my mod. But that's normally how you do it, is with that device. It's called an auto grabber. But for some reason, I don't need that in this location. It's just auto filling up everything. So I'm going to move this to the corner to make it a little nicer. Pretty handy, yeah, because it was a pain picking all those, filling up all those crab pots and harvesting all those items when I can just tell it to do it for me. There you go. Same thing I got going on down here. It's the recycler. Any trash I throw in here, it's auto recycling for me back into there. So like tomorrow I'll come out here and get the trash out of these and put them into the purple one, and then they'll turn into like real things. And now I could just have like infinite crab pots. As long as they're in this row. As you watch, if you watch, as soon as I put this in the thing, it's gonna fill up with food. Watch the lid open, and it fills up with food. Because it's auto baiting it, and it's gonna auto harvest it. Because it's all in that row. Let's see. Dang, yeah. And so tomorrow, those chests will be filled up with seafood items. And let's see, how do I get to that spot? Maybe I can't. Oh, it worked around that corner too. I wonder if that one didn't work because it's not connected to the thing. Yeah, those won't work because they're not connected. We can pick them up. Maybe. There. Pick it up! I can't pick it up. Oh well. Get out of the water. I put one down and I can't get to a position to pick it up now. Yep. Oh well. I was just gonna stay out there randomly. I think I have enough. I don't think I need any more. Do I? You broke the game. That's cool. Takes out some of the work of the crab pots. Yes. They all fill up with food and they all automatically tomorrow morning this will be full of the items that I harvest. I mean, I could put one on the other whole length of this dock. Put the crab pots all the way down this side too. How did I miss that spot? There we go.
Truck. You silly girl.
We're just gonna make endless amounts of seafood now. Well, let's do it. And then I think by putting them around the corner, basically it'll connect the line. So if I put them all the way around, I should only need one chest for both sides of the dock if I can place it. I might have to move that bait thing for a minute. Because it's in the way. No, it's on infinite bait and I can't get it out. Let's see. There, okay. Now I can do the crab pots. There. Okay, so now that they're all in a circle, I literally just have to place another chest. So we'll do it. I don't have one. Did I put one in here? I probably did. Yeah. Put it right here. And okay, you see they're empty, right? All the way around the circle, they're empty. And I'm gonna go in here and get wild bait.
What's the magic bait? Oh, is the wild bait better though?
I did some with magic bait and some with wild, so I'm doing, and then some with regular. But see, okay, they all just filled up all the way around the circle.
Heck yeah.
If you look, you can see like little food in them. So all the way around the circle, they just filled up.
Automated crab pots. Let's go.
Yes.
Love it.
Breaking the seafood economy. Yup. Oh, I gotta put this bait thing back down. Somebody might actually want to get bait. Alright, we'll just, we'll put it back here. Can we put it back there? No? Yeah. We'll put it back there. It's making bait. I wish I could pick up this random crab pot now. It won't let me. Maybe it'll let Rain pick it up later.
That's gonna live there.
I can't pick it up. I can't. It doesn't like me.
It's okay. It's just gonna live there.
We're going to bed. Oh. Refrigerator. There we go. I smell like fish, honey. I hope that's okay.
That's fine. I worked at Red Lobster for a year. Get used to it.
Oh. Whoa, 91,000 in pickles today.
Yo.
Mommy! Fishy vibes.
Yep.
Okay, and quickly, I'm not gonna break the system with that amount of crab pot sales. Sometimes I just throw away extra things that I've used the item spawner to get. I try to only put things that I actually produced into the sell bin versus I cheated in. Greetings.
Oh yes. Look at all of our dead crops.
Item of our kind is significant. Use it wisely. Oh, is another one of those? Oh, it's a fire quartz. What do you mean fire quartz? Why did the wizard give me a fire quartz? What did you do?
All
What
of
did
our
you
dead
say?
crops.
Oh, I hear something. I was like, what is that noise? It's like you doing the crop thing, and then
Oh yeah.
I was like, what the heck is that noise?
It's coming through my mic for whatever reason. You know how my mic be sensitive sometimes.
Why didn't the tractor work with the scythe? Oh, because there's nothing to harvest. You already harvested
Yeah, I already
everything.
got it.
Do you want me to put down some fertilizer with the tractor? Are you playing anything?
Um.
This is my tractor mod. Bed before 4 a.m. Progress.
Oh.
Yay! Okay,
Why am I
fertilizer.
kissing you?
Quality deluxe speed grow or deluxe. We'll do deluxe fertilizer.
It's whatever you want to choose. I don't care.
And then we'll put down fertilizer. So you just click on it while you're riding the tractor, and the tractor puts down fertilizer on everything. You know, I should fix these spots that are messed up too. There's a spot over there, yep. In there. Oh yeah, you said you're going to bed. You're made it to bed before 4 a.m. Progress. I'm proud of you. But yep. Okay. She's planning coffee. Oh, can we grow hops?
I already have a thing of hops going in the thing.
Okay. Question: did this ever produce anything? It's not bouncing anymore.
Oh.
It's not bouncing anymore. I wonder if an alien came out of it or something.
It's empty.
Oh, I bet the Junimos harvested whatever it was, maybe.
No.
Put it in a different location and see if it starts back up.
No, like, it looked like it was, like, broken.
Oh, like something got out of it.
I think it got out.
What got out of the capsule and escaped? I imagine a still water type shark Pokemon coming out of the water in the game. That would be cool. So cute.
Oh,
Or maybe a grass psychic Pokemon? Okay. Then... And then I can chop up that log with that. Tractor mod is a great mod, by the way, too. My cat is in the way. Rain, your services are needed, sir. We have a kitty cat. Just kidding.
I can't do anything about your
Move, kitty! No, no, don't hit the cat! Oh my god. Feed the cat cookies? No. Okay, kitty moved. Okay, there we go. And then fertilizer. We're fertilizing all the things and stuff. So we can grow crops.
I'm gonna grow flowers over by Rose's little beehive.
By Rose's, yeah. For the rest of it, I think we could do some crops and get maybe some stuff in the fridge that we don't have.
Yeah. I'll see what other, like, crops I can plant. I'm planting a bunch of melons over here.
You could grow flowers over here in this little tiny one, too. You know what? There. And then... Oh, I got rid of the grass. I'm gonna use the mod to plant grass for the animals, too. Let's see. And I need to turn my Pokemon mods back on. The next session, I'll probably turn off, it might be next month before I play Stardew again, because we're going to switch to Roots of Pacha for a while. But I might turn, the Pokemon mods back on. Oh, I forgot this is a little bit of chaos here with the animals. You know what? Let's Oh, you don't do it with tilled up soil. Okay. It has to be regular soil. Oops. I plant grass, I forgot. Can't till it up, it has to be untilled. I see a log back here I want removed. Okay. So now I can plant grass. They'll be happy animals. As I run over all the ghost animals eat, apparently. And then... Also, if you haven't noticed, guys, I have my mod set for the gates to automatically close and open for me when I go in and out.
That makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Because otherwise you have to manually open and close the gates and hope you close them and your animals don't get out. It doesn't help with other players playing. They need to close the gates if they open them. If they don't have the mods, but... What kind of food do you want growing in this other area? Or are you still planting?
Oh, I got some. Don't worry.
Okay, I'll let you do that. I took care of the tractor part. I'll let you do the planting. But yeah, I want to know what alien escaped from this too. But I'm like,
maybe we'll get the cutscene.
And Maru hasn't told me anything, and I gave her all that stuff.
Interesting.
And Shelmet has been caught. Yay! Oh, that's organized. Still got tappers going. I could make another chest up there where we're trying to plant trees and put the tree seeds and the tappers.
Oh yeah.
All up there where we're trying to grow them. I don't think it's gonna happen before winter though, because they're growing so slow.
Just hit one on your numpad next to them.
Okay. And they'll insta grow. Sweet. Oh, and guys, if you didn't see this, there's a body in the fountain as well. Somebody is dead in the fountain. Yeah. If you're keeping track of the bodies. Okay, also somebody is dead. One of the kids, I forget which kid has red hair, is dead right there.
Oh, that's Vincent.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to collect the Junimo plushie on the 28th. Yeah.
We'll get it later.
Cat fight. Okay. Cat fight at Electro. Oh, you can't fight Kraken. Never mind.
Good job.
Well, I messed that all up. Because now we have to wait. Now he can still challenge you, but I can't.
Yeah.
And you can't challenge me. Because it's broken. Oh, you gotta do exclamation cat fight at Electro. You have to specifically say his name after it in response. And then it'll work.
Oh,
You got the
that's what you
bullet.
get
Oh,
for
it's a
attacking
seed!
Kraken.
Gladys. Come stand next to the fire pit. It feels great. I was hoping you'd come by sometime. I wanted to say sorry for mistrusting you at first. Most people don't treat me well, so I've learned to be cautious. This is the homeless guy. Rigged. But since you've been uncommonly nice to me, you're a unique person, and I consider you a good friend. Yep, I'm still licking my wounds. You can't find me yet. Come, I want to show you something inside. Uh-oh. He's taking me in his tent. I'm scared. What is that noise? What the hell? Oh, this is a special kind of fish bait I make. It's scary. You go in the tent and you can't see, and all you hear is these squish, squish, squish noises. And my mind is not in the best place.
God.
And he's making bait. It's all fine. It's fish bait. Okay, it's fine. Top quality stuff. I'll eat it myself. He's gonna eat the fish bait. Here, I want you to have the recipe. Learned how to craft wild bait. There you go. The one we've been using already. No, I'm so scared. Oh, did you come out here and hit one next to the trees?
I did.
Beat me through it. Nice. So now I can put tappers
You're
on
in the middle of a
them.
cutscene, so.
Yeah. That's so cool. And then...
Oh, hi.
I forgot that was even a thing. That we could do that. And so... You just have one next to it?
Yep. Yep.
I
Yeah,
don't think
that's
mine's set
fully
up
grown
to
now.
do that.
Yeah.
Mine won't do that. What
Oh,
did you
it's
turn on?
Oh, it's under P, under the cheats menu and controls.
Controls. Growth distance around player 1.
Numpad. So it's not the one on like above, it's the 10 key.
So F1?
No, your 10 key.
What is that? Oh, those numbers on the keep that thing imaging.
Yeah.
Drink water. Oh.
Hey, bedtime by the way.
Didn't drink water? Oh no. Gun show? Okay. You guys are terrible. I have no muscles.
That's okay.
Okay, so... Oh, no wonder I could never figure this part of the mod out, because I wasn't using the number pad. I was using the one above it. I didn't know I could instant grow trees.
You need to make it to the house, ma'am.
I know. Ah! Tree, warp, farm. The red slime on the porch. Somebody should do something about that. Sleep. Sleep. Whoa, you sold a lot of wood.
No, I sold seeds.
Oh. See, that's what I don't do. I don't sell stuff and pull out of the CVS, the inventory thing. I don't resell that stuff.
Oh, it's so much easier to just throw it in the shipping bin.
I just throw it in the trash. Because then I could do it from anywhere and I don't have to walk up to the bin.
I was right next to the bin, so. Convenience.
I think I was just telling everybody that's the one thing I don't do.
And I do it.
You broke the rule!
I did. I do it all.
Rain's a rule breaker.
Man.
We need an arm wrestle? Oh no. You would win. I'm sure. I have puny arms. Alright. I know I have tree tappers somewhere, so we're gonna put these on. Because we need to be collecting resin and stuff from these guys. Is there a way to automate that too?
What?
The resin?
Tappers? The tappers? Yeah. Done.
Like you were doing in the greenhouse?
Yep.
Hmm.
Probably. I mean, you could probably put the things down. I also,
Let's see.
turned on the thingy, so.
Let's see. Just curious. Not that I need to do this, but and it might not do it until like we sleep or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
So then technically I would only need to do 4 trees. I would only need to do 1 of each kind if I do this and it works.
Yep. I got some mail and I got money in the mail.
Ooh, so I should do that. I should just not have this many trees.
Yeah, we only need 1 each.
Yeah, I only need 1 of each. Oh. I miss being able to whistle from a tractor. I miss that. I want to call my tractor over. And left-handed, my injured arm. Okay. I might win then, I don't know. If you're injured, I might.
Nah, they gotta suffer.
Alright, clean it up here. I have a reason, organization here I'm working on. Alright, can I plant tree right there? Maybe. No, because that's a bad spot. Those trees are fine where they're at. Just gotta find one random tree spot that can still see in front of it. Maybe I'll do it over here anyway. Yeah, just do it in front of their
Curious
crotch.
as to where that alien went.
Me too. An acorn I need to grow. Maybe. Then. You know, this fixed all my in-town growing problems too, because the trees would never grow in town, but I bet if I hit 1, they'll just grow anyway. I'll be like, what? Oh, that's the same kind of tree. I already have an acorn apparently. It's not the one I need. I need... What kind of tree do I need? Mahogany, maybe. Don't know which tree is which by looking at it. Ah, it was the mahogany. A tapper, and then a chest, and a chest, and maybe I should do it to the right of it. Yeah. And then the right of it. Put it up. This is us helping Robin. She needs infinite amounts of tree wood to do her carpentry work, so we're trying to help her out. So she can grow whatever she wants, or build whatever she wants. Yeah. And maybe I have to turn on whatever you turned on to make it do it. I don't think I have whatever it is on.
What?
Instant, like, harvest or something.
Should be under farm and fishing. And then I have cask. Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Out of that, I
Machine
have cask,
processing.
cheese press, crab pot, keg, lightning rod, womb, mayo machine, mill, mushroom box, oil maker, preserves jar, seed maker, slime press, slime incubator, and tapper, and worm bin.
Okay, so the tappers are down here. There we go. There we go. See, look at that. Now we're breaking things.
You want to turn on the cask and stuff too?
Yeah.
Since we have so much freaking shit.
Timer. Well, I guess some reasons I did not being on because then I could go in there and harvest fruits and veggies. But now that we're putting them in the fridge and we know to put some in the fridge, I think we'll be okay. But before I like being able to go in there and fish stuff out of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, the kegs
Cast.
and the casks.
No, just turn it all on. We're gonna break it.
Alright, let's go.
We're gonna break it all. Break it all. And then if we crash the game, we'll know what happened.
Hey, it all stopped.
What stopped?
The coffee.
Oh, cause I turned it on and you turned it off?
Yeah, because it all got...
Oh, it got completed.
On.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's not enough
Look at
coffee
the honey.
beans in there. Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna have endless honey. Oh, jeez.
Oh,
what
is
have I
it
done?
going into her thing?
Looks like it. Oh, that's that thing going too.
Oh no.
That's the iridium. The endless iridium.
Oh goodness.
From her bear. I should probably turn that one off. That's the, okay, maybe I don't need them all on.
No.
That's the crystallarium stuff, I think. Yeah.
That's the statues, actually.
Geode crusher, incubator.
Alright, time to sell all this aged wine.
Statues. Wood chipper, worm bed, solar panel, soda machine. Okay, I'm turning some of this stuff off.
Yeah, this is insane.
I don't want all this stuff on.
No.
Tappers, I want on. Recycling machine, no thank you. Reserve jars, yeah.
Keep the fruit trees on too, because we definitely need those. Don't need the incubator on. We don't have an ostrich incubator either. Jesus, fuck. I know he did. I know he didn't.
Alright, turn off the bee house. That should be enough honey. To last a lifetime.
Yeah, he's been doing that. Piss me off. Uh-huh. No. I forgot.
There. Hi, hi, hi.
Alright, now all the things are empty, so I think we'll be okay.
I got tired of seeing all the things flashing, you know?
Monty, be nice.
Yeah. It would have been a nightmare if I would have left all that stuff on.
Yeah. Just a
It
little
was
bit.
funny though.
Let me into the fucking greenhouse. Thank
It was funny though. you're getting challenged to a cat fight.
Ha! Fuck you. I will.
Alright. I'm gonna go give Rose a gift in her.
Excuse me, that was a little
Yes.
aggressive.
If she has room. She doesn't really have room for anything. She's got so many flowers and stuff in here. Oh, what do I take out of her stash to give her a thing? Oh, this dumb daffodil. There we go.
Like, I don't actually want stuff.
Daffodil she can get back real easy. It's a wild thing. No, I don't want to eat it. I just want to throw it in the chest. Dang, bat. Get off me. I got beat by Lady Rain. Yep. You did. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Trash cookies can go back in here. Da da da. Oh, I know what I forgot. I want to check these crab pots. Oh, look at what they got. Oh, the goodies. The automators. They were. So. What the heck? What was laying on the thing? Oh, because the trunk's missing. Did lightning get that? Oh, that's right. That one spot doesn't work for some reason. Doesn't let you put a chest there. So it put all the items like in the walkway. So when I walked over it, they all just like collected. It was weird.
I love when that happens.
Yeah. So this one doesn't let you have a chest here for some reason. I'll try a slightly different spot.
Mr. Alien.
I mean, we can go check out the aliens. So where'd all the bait go?
No, you have to refill it.
Yeah, the bait's gone. It disappeared too. I feel like, you know, the whole wad of bait in there and it was gone. Oh, rocks. Yay. Just what I need. Okay. Warp farm. Time to sleep. I'll go back to the beach tomorrow. Figure that stuff out because I didn't put all the stuff in the recycler. Ooh. There we go. Fishing level 9. Crafting recipe
Earned 10
magnet.
million.
Seafoam pudding?
Holy shit.
I got a new recipe. Oh, what did you do on our money? Chance to find treasure double. Fish worth 50% more.
I sold all the aged wine.
There. What?
All of our aged wine. And
Ancient fruit wine is why. There were
Gold.
4,620 gold apiece. We're rich. Farmers. Off aged wine.
Yup. Best way to get rich.
Mm-hmm. New achievement unlocked. A legend. A legend? 10 mil?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we just earned 10 mil.
Interesting.
In one go.
See. Yeah. I think I worked today. Oh, I didn't bust it this time. Yay.
So apparently the strange incubator is it used to be a pretty rare event, now it's not.
Still, what happened? Am I gonna refill the bait every day? But that was a lot of bait. So confused.
Oh. Okay. According to Wiki, you have a rare chance to see the creature that came out of the capsule at night near the bus.
Near the what? The bus? Oh.
Yeah, the bus stop. That, of course, that was 2 years ago, so the rates have changed on it. But
All the recyclables in there. Now we're going to teleport back home.
Okay, so glimpse the dark creature at bus stop or in town. 1% chance of encountering it at the bus stop or town during evening hours.
I want to say I think I've seen it before and done the thing before, but I've forgot. So
I've never seen it.
long ago. So we need to go to the bus stop at night and see if we see it.
Bus stop or the town.
Okay. I think the hint behind the aliens being at the desert is what it is.
Yeah. The fancy Easter egg. Alright, I have a single red slime that's stuck in a corner and a single blue slime. And a shit ton of tiger slimes.
There's grapes. Wild grapes. And, ooh, I don't think we have any spice berries in the fridge. I'm gonna collect some spice berries. Chat. Oh, I'm gonna try and sleep. So enjoy the game. Sleep well. Later, loves. KimonoKat. Chat. Alright, good night, Momo. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Sleep well. Have a good day.
I'm getting a little sleepy too, myself, really.
Yeah, it's about that time. We could end here, or we could go one more day. Up to you. You're special. What? Momo. Aye. Yeah, that's gonna be insane. I hope she needs tree sap and stuff. Maple syrup. I'm gonna take that home.
Sell it.
Well, the sap, you know, you could, make fertilizer, but, that's a lot of work. Oh, there's trees up here, too. I didn't know we planted trees up here.
Yeah,
I forgot I planted trees up here.
I planted them there. They weren't growing. I made them grow. There we go, and then we'll do... Here. One of each kind. You know, weirdo. You're special. Mama's special. Spice berries. I'm excited to take these back to the house and see what I can make. A wild seismitoad? Dang, he's a big one. First, we're gonna go visit Pierre and see what he's got that I can buy different this season.
Okay, what do you got that I can buy? Oh, is it still the same things every season? Yes, it is. Vinegar, oil, rice, wheat, and sugar. So, I've got all those. Nothing has changed as far as that goes. Okay. I was hoping you had different food to buy. Oh yeah, here's 2 more dead bodies for you guys that are keeping track. Here's the spinning head.
Oh God.
And
Leah's head.
yes. Leah's head is spinning on a stick. And Jazz's bow is all bloody and on the ground right there. So, yeah, something bad happened here. We don't know what, but something bad.
I don't.
Supply shop. What's in the supply shop? Hey,
You know what this
junk.
is? Yeah, you know what this is.
I caught the seismitoad. Chicken. Do we get a blue chicken? Let's find out. Oh, it's a brown chicken. Dang it. So. Buy another chicken. Jeez.
I'm getting puddled catnip.
Oh
My God. He's just eating the crap out of the catnip, dude.
Oh no.
On my desk too. I don't know why I chose to do it on my desk, but.
Oh no, you're gonna have problems. Brown, another one.
He's just my little pothead. It's okay.
No, no.
Little niphead. Just needs a little bit of the nip.
Purchase. Trying to get a blue one. Chances are
Monty's been jealous about the
not
catnip,
doing so good right now.
He keeps trying to eat it, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like this." Dude, it's not for you.
It is not for you at all, doggo. What the heck? Is there only brown chickens right now? Building is full. Ollie. Ah, she left. Okay. Now I gotta go sell some chickens. Where are they at?
No.
Brownie stays.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Still.
He knocked
Yes.
the fucking thing out of my hand. And
Oh no.
Catnip all over the floor and all over puddles.
You're lucky you didn't get clawed up.
He's so covered in catnip.
Oh no.
Hi, Monty butt. Go lay down. Monty, go lay down!
Which one are you? Okay. Oh wait, there's 2 of you in there. Okay, so the other one I gotta sell. Where are you at? Where are you at? Yes. So. Gotta make room for blue chickens, if they happen. Oh, new baby lizard hatched. What are we naming this lizard? His name is Grotto right now. I'm naming Kraken. Kraken. That doesn't make sense for a lizard, though. That's a sea creature. Dino baby name. Chat. Charizard. I don't know. Named it after a Pokemon. This one. And then we're gonna add these guys. And take those out of there. Anything new? No, not really. I need to get a squid, a periwinkle. I need to go get fish stuff. Oh, you need an omelet to make a new recipe. Oh, interesting. What recipe is that? Oh, we had omelets in here. Maybe I read that wrong. Green beans! Need an eel. Fried cabbage and radishes. Is that this season? And rhubarb. Red cabbage, radish, and rhubarb, and blueberries. Wonder if we're growing any of those. Midnight carp, squid ink, flounder. Ouchies. I just need to go fishing. Get tons of fishy things. Alright, it's time for sleeps. Rain is already in bed.
I've been over here talking and forgot I muted myself.
Oh. I was wondering why you were so quiet. I was like, yep, she's ready to go to bed.
Monty's cleaning up some of the catnip. Hopefully it'll calm. Hopefully it'll calm him down. He just wants to be involved.
So are they getting along again?
Yeah, Puddles isn't afraid of him anymore. He's still a little hesitant, but he's not like afraid completely.
That's good. At least they figured themselves out.
Yeah. Had to take his bone away. Monty. Oh my god, dude. What you doing? What you doing? You cleaning up the catnip? I'm so tired.
guys, I think that's it for me. Thank you guys for hanging out and lurking and listening and talking about food things, because now I'm still hungry. It's time for bed. I don't need to go eat now. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Rain, I would have to say, I think the black cat ears are a hit. Everybody redeems those. They like the black ones. Thank you. Rain got these for me, guys. But yeah, you guys are awesome. And I will catch you guys next stream. Rain, tell everybody good night.
Hi, friends.
Good night, good night. See. Good night, everyone.